Well, g'day, Max here again. We're in the new shop. Yeah, so there's been a bit of lack of videos put out by myself over the recent weeks, and that's due to the fact that I've had my absolute ring hanging out, moving stuff into here. I've lost count of how many trailer loads of stuff I've brought in. Just when you live at a place 35 years, you accumulate a lot of stuff. When it's time to move, it's a nightmare, as you can imagine. So the hardest part is, you keep unloading it in here, then you've got to make it disappear. The old Thunderbox over behind us over there, that's become a massive storage box, room, whatever. But anyway, so the next rest of this video is just a couple of little bits I've taken of footage here and there along the way over the past several weeks, as we've been doing bits and pieces to the shop. So there's no machining content, so if you're after the machining, yeah, well, there isn't any. It's just a bit of an update on what I've been doing. So have a look or not. Cheers. Well, here we go, the last stages of the move. Well, the beginning of the last stages. So first to go out of my old shop, little bandsaw and my cast iron surface plate. Of course, using this overhead gantry to assist with the loading. So yeah, the old shop, she's coming to an abrupt end. I still have 2 more jobs to do for people. I've got a job to do in the Bridgeport, and I've got a job to do in this lathe here. So next machines to go, as I work my way in, will be the tool and cutter grinder, the South Bend lathe over the back, and Hock Fuck Wong over there, the Zay 7045 milling machine. So we'll get these loaded up and transported over to the new shop. Well, another load. So we've got the tool and cutter grinder on, all strapped down, and over the back there, my 10k South Bend. This will be its 10th and final move. What I mean by 10th moved, since this lathe was brand new, this will be the 10th time it's been moved. So we'll get her over to the new shop. She'll give it a good birthday there, and that will be its final resting place, never to be sold. So when this lathe was brand new, when Dad brought it, he had it set up out in the back shed at my grandfather's house, and he used to make wheelbarrow axles on it. And through the course of that, he developed into having a very large structural steel business, with a little machine shop out the back. So yeah, this one stays in the family. So look at all the room we got in here now. I'd never have believed that I had a 3 foot by 2 foot cast iron surface plate, bandsaw, the South Bend lathe, and the tool and cutter grinder in this little area here, with enough room to walk through. So in the trenches, this one here goes 20 meters up that way. Of course, there's a junction here, and then it goes up to the shed wall up there. And if I turn you around, this one goes all the way down to the fence. Bit of a problematic area just here, as this was super dry here. Plus I had to reverse the direction of the tractor, so I had to dig it sideways. course. Found the one of the bore pipes, so that's a repair I'll do once the power conduits are in. So I've just got another leg going up there. That's to power up the old building there. And here's something, old electrical wiring from the 1950s. No conduit, no nothing back then. Just the wires in the ground. There's three-phase wiring there too, and that powers up, well, that's what used to power up the old building to the left of us, which used to be, oh, excuse me, in the 1950s was the original house. And then all the way down there. Tree roots. And then it'll connect up to the power dome. Yeah, so I dug all that with the old trusty old backhoe here. And yeah, as usual, got it done with no dramas. Beaten up whole thing, but she just keeps going. Well, things are happening slowly on the power front. So we've got a couple of runners bolted up to the wall. So the main workshop fuse panel will bolt to that, and the wires will come and enter from down there. So we've got our power cables in, the little ones just for an auxiliary building. That's the main one here for the workshop. So that's 25mm 4-core and earth, so that'll power the shop. So we still have another conduit and cable to run down this trench and all the way to the meter. That's a sensing cable for the solar panel system that we're looking at getting. So yeah, just when we get this other cable, then we'll make the entry points in through the wall, and the fuse box or the main switchboard hopefully will be in the next day or so, and we can get that all mounted up. The electrician can do all the connections, and then it's just a matter of calling the power company to do the hookup to the mains grid power. So I've backfilled this other trench that I had here. So this one that's under where we are walking now goes to this temporary power box here. So the electrician's still got to get everything wired up. That's a 16mm 4-core and earth in there, and that's temporary power for when we build the new house here. The old tractor's still going. Oh yeah, I heard this buzzing. I'll show you. These mushroom things here, I've got to put them in the ground. I think I've got to find out how far in the ground they've got to go. These are solar powered, and they shoo away the snakes apparently. So they make this buzzing noise, and it sends a little vibration down into the ground. That's the buzzing noise. That's the other buzzing noise. Yeah, the other day we had a snake in the little garden here. Well, it's not really a garden, it's just where the wife keeps the pot plants before she plants the trees. So every now and then I go and buy another 4 or so of these LED fluoros for the shop. These are the same, well, I think I might have showed these before. Where are they? There's one there, one there. So I'm running a string of them along the second purlin, all the way down the length of the shop on both sides. So each bay will have 2 of the LED fluoros in, except for this last bay, it'll just have that one there. So I was in a quandary because there's that many LED lights out there, and I certainly am no electrical genius. So I spoke to the electrical company that we use at work, and they said they will only use these. So these are a commercial LED light. These are adjustable to 4,000 or 5,000, or you can have 6,500 K for the brightness, whatever that is. So that's what I'm using. That's what I've used, you know, as I've just mentioned before. So I'm just about to start on the string across here. So I was just watching Ralphie from Ralphie Customs, and he's putting some LED lights up in his little workshop modification there. So it sort of reminded me that shit, I've got these things down here and I'm in between doing things at the moment. So let's get these at least mounted up, all ready for the electrician to wire up. So we can get a quick aerial shot of the workshop while I'm up here. Of course, the JFMT lathe, the little South Bend 10K. Under those LED panels is my steel marking out plate, or some shelving. I'll probably put my my other lathe that I currently use at home. I'll sit that in there and see how it goes. Of course, there'll be a bench in between. Grinding area over there, cylindrical grinder, ID grinder, surface grinder, and I've got the tool and cutter grinder in there now. It's just got to be pushed back towards the wall. HBM in the middle. Another lathe. Shaper, still in a bit of a quandary that I'm not sure if that's going to be its final position, but it's quite possible that's the only position that it can go in. What's the big mill over in the background, radial drill. Yeah, quick aerial view. Well, another day and another empty space. That's where Hong Fuck Wong used to sit. Now on the trailer, ready for strapping down and the journey out to the new shop. Well, another lovely summer's day here out in Perth. Beautiful day today, not that hot yet, it's getting there. Thank God they're going to come to an end soon. Roll on the cold weather. Anyway, so we've managed to get Hong Fuck Wong here in the new shop, unscathed, in one piece. Hardly a drama. So we'll just use our new 1 ton 1,000 kilo gantry that we brought, and it's been really handy having one of those on either end, one here to unload and the other one over in the other shop to load up with. So it's the old Zay 7045. I'm pretty sure this is a very similar machine to the one that John has over in Scotland, John's workshop. I remember when I first brought this one, I brought it new, but I did modify the switch. It used to have a tapping cycle as well, and it had limit switches in here. So when you get to a certain point in here that you'd adjust with this screw here, it would throw the headstock of the machine into reverse so you could back the tap out. And I found more often than not it would give me the shits, because I'd be drilling a hole and then the thing would start going backwards. So I got rid of all that and just went to a single drum switch forward reverse. Whether I reinstall the tapping part back into it one day, maybe not. I don't even know if I've still got all the switches for it. So, anyway, Hong Fak Wong here is going to go over yonder there in milling machine row. The Bridgeport will go over there too. So all 3 milling machines will be, well, this one here, probably the Bridgeport, well, the Bridgeport will go there, and little Hong Fak Wong, I don't know, might back it up against the headstock of this other lathe here yet. It's everything's complete chaos in here at the moment because we've been doing a lot of moving, shifting stuff around. There's a view out the side door of the workshop. And of course the hammock there, this is where I pull up in the afternoons after lunch, put the feet up for a bit if it gets too hot. Alright, let's get this milling machine moved. I also got the main power board mounted up, ready for the electrician to wire up. So this is an 86 pole, 250 amp, 3-phase, 415 volt power board. So yeah, all the little switches will clip onto here. There's the terminals for them where they plug in. And so in the interim, just here we're putting in probably a 32 amp 3-phase plug and 2 15 amp outlets here. These are like these 3-phase plugs. This is just a 20 amp one. This one yeah, that's the 32 amp one. So that'll give me some temporary power, because it will be some time before the machines are wired properly. At least I can, with a long 3-phase extension cord, I do have access to 3-phase power. So I'm also starting to put up these. One there I've got up, and there's one over there. Those are cable trays, so the electrical cables will come out the top of the cabinet and run. They'll sit in those trays all the way down the length of the shop, and where we need to branch off to power up the machines on the other side, we'll run the cables up in those rafter beams and along there and down the column on the other side to get to the other machines. I may put a couple of I probably will put a couple of cable trays up on that side as well, just so when the cables come down, it's easy to just branch left or right where they've got to go, and then drop straight down to where they've got to finish up. So that's where we're at with the electrics. So at the start of the video, we just had trenches dug, so progress is slow, but progress is progress. So my next mission, I've got about 5 ton of jarrah sitting here. This is all timber that I got ages ago to slab up into thick slabs, but haven't got round to it yet. Now it's in the way, I've got to move it. So we've got to get all this temporary stalled out here. So managed to move all my chunks of wood, got a pile here and the rest over here. I'll see if I can dig out a couple of clips when I cut this tree, when I cut all this up. from the tree. Yeah, it's quite comical. There was a whacking great big bee's nest in it. So we get our welding area back. So what I'm going to do over here is sheet from that column. I want to sheet these walls there and across there up to that girt there, and sheet metal just to protect all the insulation from any grinding sparks and that sort of malarkey. So that's freed up a fair bit of room in the middle. That's where that bench was before. So that allows me access then to get the other lathe at home. That'll come in through here and up the side and end up over there. And of course the Bridgeport, it'll be a tight fit, but we'll get it through there up to its corner. So the big Casto sitting here all lonely by itself. Not for long, hopefully. So our scrap pile's growing. A couple of D10 ripper shanks there, big chunk of 5-inch round bar, and that bit of round bar's 3 meters long. These other two bits down the bottom, there's a 4-inch thick bit and a 3-inch thick with a bit of 1-inch welded to it, a couple of 2-inch and 2.5-inch thick bits, and they're 3 meters long as well. 2-inch bit there. That big bit of plate, that red plate, that's 1.5-inch plate. A couple of its inch plate. For future projects. Well, that's it. Everything all swept out already, so I can bring the other lathe in now. That's the other thing I've been up to too, and that was quite a time-consuming exercise. These shelving units, these are APC and Dexian, really good quality shelving. So I've had to dismantle them all at my old place and bring them over here. There's 4 of them back there, and then yeah, so there's a lot of stuff to move. Another one over behind the milling machine. While we're over here, been watching a few big boring bars being made on YouTube too. This is my biggest. This is 4.5-inch. And of course it's for the horizontal boring mill. These came with the machine. And a couple of little Chodowskis here, little stubby ones. Just about fatter than they are in length. But of course, old Wilkesy in England, he'd have the biggest tool of them all. If he flopped that one out. He's got some big ones over there, some big bars. And speaking of tools, I managed to pick up the 16-inch rotary table, and also this one here. It's a slotting head. It'll fit on my Bridgeport milling machine. So it'll be interesting to give this a whirl. Also managed to pick up these Coventry die heads. So there's another one that's over in the other shop. It's a very small one, and these came with a very comprehensive set of the threading chasers. So there's your geometric die heads with a lot of chasers of various threads, metric and imperial. A couple of big counter boring tools, a few bits and pieces. So tooling over here in Australia, you're never going to find big hauls like the guys in the States do. I mean, it's everywhere over there from what I can see, but over here it's rare. So what we have here is a couple of Alfred Herbert made in England quick change chucks. So this is a number 2. Just pull the sleeve back and out comes the adapter. So this has got number 2, number 1 Morse taper adapters. Just pull the sleeve back, drop them in, they click in. And also a 4 Morse taper one as well. Very good condition. The whole heap of 4 Morse taper sleeves to go into it. That's in your machine, out it drops, and it stays. So these will be a handy bit of gear. Yeah, so as I think I mentioned before, the next machine to come over is going to be the AL960 lathe. And if you recall a couple of videos back, I was machining some pieces and I was picking up a lot of discrepancies, so I put some indicators on the machine to measure the flex that was happening in the headstock. Now, to date, I don't know where it's actually coming from, if it's an issue with the headstock, the way it's mounted to the bed, or if it's the actual bed twisting, or if it's related to the way the bed's bolted to the cabinetry below. I don't know yet. So what I intend to do, I'm going to bring the lathe over here next. I'm going to strip the lathe off the cabinets and I'm going to bolt the bed, the entire lathe minus the cabinets, down onto the table of the milling machine here. The whole machine will fit on this milling machine table. So then I can bolt the bed down securely and give the headstock a wiggle, and we can sort of get to the roots of what's going on. That way I'll know if I've got to do a repair where the headstock goes onto the bed, or we've got to make stiffer cabinets for the machine. So we'll see what happens, eh? So anyway, that's enough for this video. I'm sure you've had enough of me yabbering on with no machining. So anyway, cheers if you manage to stick around. And next video will be, we might even have some electricity happening in here. So we've got all the lights up now. Well, we'll see what happens, but yeah, should be a few weeks before the next one, but fingers crossed, you never know. Anyway, cheers, thanks for watching, and catch you later.